Barbecue, and I'm just about to sit down and enjoy some jambalaya and a homemade buttermilk biscuit. Oh yeah, this is rib jambalaya or rib tip jambalaya. If you've ever wondered what to do with rib tips after you cut them down to St. Louis cut, this is something I like to do. After I smoke them, I like to take the meat and make jambalaya. Now, there's a fellow on YouTube, goes by the name of Mr. B. By the way, if you hear some smacking in the background, that's my children sitting down at the table. They love this jambalaya. All right, back on the story. I'm sorry, did I mention that I was ADD? If you're ADD, I hope I don't offend you. I'm ADD too. You know what ADD stands for? Attention deficit. Ooh, this is good jambalaya disorder. Now, back on topic. Mr. B did a video about a month or so ago. He's on Backyard Bbq-R channel. I will put a link to his thing. I don't even know if he watches my channel, but anyway, he did a video about how to cut a whole slab of spare ribs into St. Louis cut. And of course, I've been doing that for years. I just watched the video because he's entertaining and I like to watch him. All right, but he asked on there, he says, if you know what to do with rib tips, comment. So I commented, make jambalaya. And he said, ooh, that sounds interesting, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what his reply was. And I said, well, I need to do that. So anyway, I'm making a video about rib tip jambalaya, and I'm doing the taste test part first. That's because I'm not happy with the intro I recorded earlier. So this is gonna be the intro. Here it is, y'all. Y'all see that? Let's get this camera right down here. Let's do this. Get here, camera. Get there. Look at that, look at that, look at that. That's good, huh? Look right there. Jambalaya and a homemade buttermilk biscuit with butter on it. Look at that. Ooh-wee. It's gonna be a good dinner, y'all. Good dinner. All right, here we go. Here's taste it. You see that rib meat in there? That's part of that rib tip meat right there. All right. I'm sorry to eat plain like that. Oh my goodness. I bet you want to know how I made this. Well, let me show you. All right, what to do with rib tips. Now, oftentimes I'll rub them with the same rub I'm doing the ribs with and just eat them. But today I want to use them for jambalaya. Now, the rib tips look something like this after you cut them St. Louis style, and I've trimmed off some of the fat. And this is the breastbone piece, and this is the rest of the rib tips, and this is the little end off the bottom of the ribs. We eat all of this. You can do whatever you want to with it, but it makes a good jambalaya, and so that's what we're doing with it. All right, let me wipe my hands off real quick. And what I'm gonna use is Bear's Butt Rub. All right, it's a very savory rub that has a lot of herbs and stuff in it, and a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar, but it's not real sweet and salty or real spicy like a regular rib rub is. And so this is going to be good because I'm using this meat for jambalaya. And when I do the regular rub, sometimes that jambalaya can be a little too salty or something because I'm gonna be adding salt to the jambalaya. So I'm using this rub right here, Bear's Butt Rub. You can find it at bearsbuttrub.com or in markets in the central Louisiana area. All right, I'll put a link to it in the description box. But I'm just gonna rub all this down. I'm probably gonna sprinkle some Worcestershire sauce on it as well. All right, and that's all there is to this. Let's throw some Worcestershire sauce and then I'll rub it all over it. All right, just like this. Doesn't matter what order you put it in really. Just get it on there and get this smoking. Big Lou Barbecue. All right, rib tip video, okay? Rib tips are gonna go on just like this. It's not part of the St. Louis rib video, but you'll see it probably in both sections. Rib tips gonna go on just like this, right about here. Breastbone right there. And now this is an oven thermometer, and if I put it right about like that, I'll be able to see the temp inside there with the top. Okay, well, these ribs have been on here about 2.5 hours. A little longer really, more like 2:45. So it's time to pull them off of here. I'm gonna pick this thermometer up. Come on off of there. Don't get caught. Dead nabbit rats. But you look at that Mount Haven. We're gonna do it like this. Come off of there. There we go. Now you ain't gonna get caught on there. Now you're not gonna get caught on there. That might get cut out of the video. All right. Pull these rib tips off. These are done as well as I'm gonna cook them. They're gonna turn, look at that, falling apart anyway. They're gonna be in jambalaya tomorrow. And there will be a video on that. Look at that. Not supposed to happen that way. All right, so these rib tips gonna wind up in jambalaya. Now, okay, what we need for this jambalaya is we need the meat from the rib tips. Now, I've already separated the meat from the bones, and the bones are boiling for the stock. I already have a how to make a stock video. I make pork stock with a bone from some pork shoulders and stuff that I make pulled pork with. But these rib tip bones make a good stock too, and you got them, just make the stock right there. You don't have to get the stuff out of your freezer. So the pork from the rib tip meat need what's called the Cajun Trinity. That's an onion, a bell pepper, and celery. We're going to use 1 onion, 1 bell pepper, 2 stalks of celery. That's about right. Okay, you're going to need about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. I like garlic, so I use 4. You can get away with 5 if you really like it. About 2 onion tops. You don't have to use that, but it makes it better. Some Worcestershire sauce. You can use whatever brand you want. You can use the big Liam Perrins brand. I'm not brand specific here. It's just what we have. And some Cajun Creole seasoning. You can use, you know, the Tony's or the Cajun Thunder or whatever brand. This is the stuff I make, and I have a video about how to make Cajun Creole seasoning. All right? And, of course, to make jambalaya, you gotta have rice. All right? We just keep rice right there in that jar. All right, you gotta have rice. You're gonna need about 2 to 3 cups of rice. I think I'm going with a 3-cup rice jambalaya today. And so I'm gonna get the onion, the bell pepper, and the celery chopped up. The garlic crushed and chopped up, this chopped up, and the Earl Campbell's sausage. You can use whatever kind of sausage you like. This is not a bad sausage for not a bad price. It's a pretty good value. You know, I say he plays football, or used to play football. If you play football or sing country music, I think that guarantees you the right to sell a lot of sausage. I don't know why, just seems that way. All right. Big Lou Barbecue, let's get this jambalaya put together. I'm gonna chop it off camera and we'll be back on top of the stove in just a few minutes. Okay, another thing you're going to need is some sort of fat or oil. You can use cooking oil, you can use corn oil, you can use whatever you like. Bacon grease works real well, and I like to use bacon grease, but when you're cooking the rib tips, you know, those ribs come with everything you need. Like I said, I got the bones to make the stock. And this is the fat that I trimmed off of those ribs yesterday, and even the membrane. All right, now I'm gonna cook this up in here, and what this is gonna do is coat the bottom of this cast iron pan with the lard that I want. Once the lard renders out, I'll give the fat pieces to the dog and the membrane. That's the membrane right there. But it's all gonna render out some, you know, pork grease, some lard. And so we're gonna get that going real quick. And I'll show you what it looks like after that happens. Okay, all that pork fat has rendered out. These pieces are done. I'm not gonna eat these pieces. These are gonna be little blessings of dog treats for for some of the most important members of my family. 2 black labs and a little Shih Tzu. Heck, I might even be generous enough to share some with the cats. All right. So we get that out of there. All right. It won't come out. The rats, get on out of there. And we're gonna put the sausage in, okay? That's a bit of that membrane. We certainly don't want that in there. All right, if you don't want to cook the membrane, you don't have to. There's nothing wrong with it. And dogs like to eat it. All right, I wouldn't eat it. Now we're gonna throw that sausage in there. That's that just smoked country sausage stuff. I showed you the brand name on it. You can use whatever brand name you want to use. But we're gonna get this brown. I'm gonna get it to pick up all that little stuff on the bottom of this black iron pot left from the pork. There's enough fat in there. You know, you don't want a whole lot of grease, and you can use bacon grease if you want, or a little bit of cooking oil. Just keep it from sticking to the pot. And we're gonna get these brown. So I'll try to lay a lot of them down flat on the bottom. Kind of turn them over here in a little bit. We'll pick up from there when the sausage is brown. All right, well, the sausage is brown, and I'm just gonna put it right there on top of the rib meat that they had in that bowl. No sense in dirtying up another bowl because it's all gonna go back in here in just a little bit. Rib meat's cooked, and now the sausage is cooked. So get this out and show you what we'll do next. All right, got the sausage out, got all these little goodies, and just about all the oil I really need to brown up this trinity here. Now remember what I said the trinity was? Bell pepper, onion, celery. 1 bell pepper, 1 onion, 2 ribs or stalks of celery, however you want to call them. Look at that long piece right there. Just take that out. We don't need that. All right. And we're going to want to get this not translucent like a lot of the people on the cooking TVs. Oh, cook the onions translucent. No, we want these brown. Caramelized is the word they use on those fancy smancy cooking shows on the Create channel and Food Network and all that. All right, so we want to get these onions nice and brown, scoop up all those little bits down on the bottom of that cast iron pan, and they're already brown. And look at that. We'll cover them, let them kind of stew right here for a little bit. And then while that's happening, it's time to take this off. Now, do you remember what this is? This was on that burner right here. Tell you what, let me move the camera. See if we can do it this way. Yeah, now, what's in there is that pork stock I was telling you about. And I'm gonna need about 6 cups of liquid. So I need to drain and measure this pork stock. And let's say I've got 4 cups of pork stock. Well, then I'm gonna need 2 cups of water. If I've only got 3 cups of pork stock left, then I'm gonna need 3 cups of water. Anyway, I'm gonna drain the bones out of it and get this pork stock ready to go. It's been simmering for about an hour and a half after I brought it up to a boil earlier. All right, just take those bones from the rib tips, throw them in there with a little water, a little bit of salt. You don't need much because you're gonna salt the jambalaya. And just boil them down until you get a nice stock with it. Everything you need as far as the, well, what I'm trying to say is when you get the ribs, I don't waste anything. You see I use the fat to get the oil down in the bottom of the pan, and I use the bones to make the stock. I don't waste anything on those ribs. Big Lou barbecue. All right, these onions have gotten dark, caramelized. You see that? If you don't get them caramelized, you're not gonna get the color you need out of your jambalaya, all right? And you can see the bottom, hopefully you can see the bottom here. It's looking a little more new. It's got all that stuff from the sausage and the little fat pieces that we fried up earlier off of there. And it's all mixed in with these onions. So we're ready for the next step. And the next step is to add in our pork stock. All right, I need 2 3/4 cups of water. All right, 2 3/4 cups of water, because I want 6 cups of liquid. All right, we're gonna add in our green onion and garlic that I chopped up. I got another handful of that to come. All right, the green onion and garlic goes in the water. Boom, boom. All right, you thought I was gonna cut my hand, didn't you? Like you don't use a knife for a spatula. Come on. All right, give it a stir. All right, we're gonna put the meat in. This is that sausage we fried up and the rib tips we smoked up yesterday, all right, all cut up. We're gonna put the meat in here. All right, and we're gonna give that a stir. Just stir this all around. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Yeah. All right, now we want this to come to a boil. But before we do that, we've got to season it. We want about 1 ounce of Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, that's 1 ounce. What? It's not quite 1 ounce? There we go. All right, now if you want to put hot sauce in it here, put hot sauce in it. If it was just my daughter and I eating it, I'd go ahead and put the hot sauce in it. But since I'm serving it to my wife and son, my daughter and I can add the hot sauce later. You don't need to spice things way up crazy, all right? Let everybody eat it, and you know, always add a hot sauce later. All right, and then we want to do, probably 1 ounce. maybe an ounce and a half of Cajun Creole seasoning. All right, that's just like that. That was an ounce and a half exact, wasn't it? It wasn't. Okay, we'll add a little more. There we go. All right, and we'll stir this around, and we'll turn the fire up. Fire. I'm cooking on an electric induction stove. There's no fire. All right, and we're gonna bring this to a boil. And when it comes to a boil, we're gonna add our rice. All right, and that's all there is to this Big Lou barbecue. Okay, most important step. This water is boiling, and what you want to do is you want to add your rice. Now I've got 3 cups of white rice, so please listen carefully. If you're using parboiled rice, which I'm not, if you're using parboiled rice, you can stir and stir and stir and stir till the rice is done. You get a nice dark brown color if you use parboiled rice. But if you're using white rice, all right, let me get my little stir thing ready to go here. If you're using white rice, you want to stir it once right after you put it in the boiling water, and then you do not want to stir it again. If you stir white rice, okay, any more than right now, once you get it stirred in here, if you stir white rice any more than right now, you're going to wind up with something along the lines of gum, more like a sticky paste, and not individual rice grains. So do not stir again. We're going to cover this up. I'm going to listen carefully. When I hear it come back to a boil, I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. It's going to boil for 5 minutes, and I'm going to turn it off. And we're going to wait 25 minutes, and after I turn it off, and when that happens, this jambalaya will be done. All right, so we'll let it come back to a boil. Set your timer for 5 minutes. Turn it off. Let the timer run on out for 25 more minutes, and it's done. We're gonna have smoked rib tip jambalaya. Hi, oh yeah, baby. Okay, just as I said, I turned the timer on for 30 minutes right after I heard it come back to a boil. And then at 25 minutes, when it was counting down, at 25 minutes, I turned the stove off underneath here and just let it sit for the next 25 minutes. Now, I guarantee you, this jambalaya is ready. All right? Whoo, look at that right there. Y'all see that? Y'all see that beautiful color? Rib tip jambalaya, barbecue rib tip, smoked rib tip, whatever you want to call it. Just call it rib jambalaya if you want to. All right, it's really good. We're gonna do a taste test here in just a moment. Big Lou barbecue. Hold on, I'm back, y'all. Don't just take my word for it. Now look, I'm not gonna put them on camera because they're in swimwear. Ready to go for an evening swim in the pool? Got one of them above ground fancy pools from the Walmart, y'all. All right, anyway. I'm going to ask them. Hannah, how's that jambalaya?
It's good.
She can testify. Eli, how's that jambalaya?
Delicious.
All right, Big Lou barbecue is good. There she is. She's all right. She's smiling. She knows it's good. Eli ain't got a shirt on. He's been swimming. You ain't gonna see him on camera right now. Big Lou barbecue.